Divya Bhagavat Premno Hi Bij Pradam Devam Divyatanum Suchandravadanam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandranandapuram Sadekavarnam Vairagya Vidyam Buddhim Shri Siddhantanidhim Subhaktilasitam Sarasatanam Maram Vandetam Shabadam Madeka Sharanam Nasiswaram Śrīdharam Shri Siddhanta Saraswati Tividito Gaudiya Gurvanvaye Bhato Bhanuriva Prabhat Gagne Gaura Sankirtane Mayavadati Mingilo Daragata Anudhritya Jivaniman Krishna Prema Sudabdigahan Sukham Pradat Prabhum Tam Bhaje Namo Gaura Kishoraya Bhaktavadhuta Murtaye Gaurang Padma Bhrangaya Radha Bhavana Shevine Vande Bhakti Vinodam Shri Gaura Shakti Sarupakam Bhakti Shastagya Samrajam Radharasa Sudhanadam Gauraja Shatashe Shaira Vaishnavaira Vanda Vigraham Jagannatha Prabhum Vande Premabdham Vidya Vaishnava Vancha Kalpataru Bhayascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Namo Mahavadannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaura Tushe Nama Sashtang Dandat Pranam to all the devotees, Vaishnavas and servitors, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math worldwide, serving selflessly for Param Guru Mahārāj and Gurudev's divine mission. Sashtang Dandat Pranam at your lotus feet. Everyone else, a hearty namaskar, welcome to our Friday evening Krishna Anusandhan, Search for Sri Krishna, Reality the Beautiful. And I have with me Shripad Arun Krishna Prabhu, our divine panelist. Dandat Pranam, welcome.
Dandat Prabhu.
Very happy to have you, the Divine Association.
Honor is mine.
So, we are continuing with our Search for Sri Krishna, Reality the Beautiful. And we will be picking up from where we left off last time, which is page number 143. Name of the section here is Namabhas, the twilight name. And once we complete this, then we will get to service of the holy name. So, but we'll begin with Namabhas, the twilight name. In chanting the holy name, there are also 4 kinds of Namabhas. Namabhas means a faint connection with the holy name. Namabhas is neither offense nor service mood, but between the two. Its basis is renunciation. But we must also cast away this indifference and become earnest for serving the name, who is our friend and master.
I got it.
Thank you, Prabhu. Namabhas may be classified into 4 categories. The first is Sanketyam, chanting indirectly to indicate something else, as in the case of Ajamil. Ajamil was a Brahmana's son. Somehow, he connected with a low-class woman and entered into a degraded life as a dacoit, drinking and doing many other nasty things. After many years, the time came for his death. As he lay in a coma, suddenly he saw 3 messengers with a horrible appearance come and put a rope around his neck and begin to drag him away. he was horrified. Just before this, he had seen his son Narayan playing nearby. So he sought the help of the child and called Narayan. But in the course of calling his name, Ajamil thought within himself, what can this boy Narayan do? How will he deal with these three furious figures? He is nothing. So by the connection of the holy name of Narayan, Lord Narayan came to his mind. When in his apprehension his call for Lord Narayan was sincere, 4 agents from Vaikuntha descended. They were sober and mild, and addressed the Yamdutas, the messengers of death, saying, Who are you? Why have you come? We have come because it is the last day of Ajamil. He was a great sinner, and we have been sent by our king, Yamaraj, the Lord of Death, to drag him away for punishment. Don't you know what is dharma, duty? Oh yes, we do. We know. Then why are you here? He committed immense sin. Didn't you hear him take the name of Narayan? Yes, we have heard. What of that? His whole life he committed so many sinful acts. And only one name of Narayan will do away with that? It is not possible. Oh. You have not been properly directed by your master. Namaskar Anilji, welcome.
Hare Krishna, sir.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. Oh, you have not been properly directed by your master. Now that Ajamil has taken the name of Narayan, his jurisdiction has at once changed. He is no longer under the jurisdiction of your master. He has not given such instructions to you? No, we do not know all these things. Then go back and ask him. Ajamil was released, frightened by the posture and grandeur of the messengers of Vishnu. The Yamdutas fled. Ajamil thought, what is the instruction to be learnt here? This is Namabhas. It is a faint connection with the holy name. It was neither out of faith nor by the order of his guru that he chanted the name of Narayan. It was not that he purposely went to take the name, but by accident it flashed in his mind. Still, as a result of his previous pious activity, Namabhas gave him salvation. Ajamil at once awoke. He remembered all his past sinful activities and began to repent. He began his journey towards Hardwar without speaking a single word to family or friend. There he chanted the name of Narayan for a long time. At the proper time, those 4 Vishnudutas descended with a divine chariot and took him to the conscious spiritual domain of Vaikuntha. Yes, Arun Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I'll make a submission that even though I have come from the land of Bharat, for so many years I did not know the Katha of Ajamil. And what can I say, but it is my misfortune that in the society that I have lived, though coming from a society of around Ganga, we have heard of all kind of Vikrit Kathain, but Ajamil Katha I have not heard, and it just reflects very poorly on my misfortune, but also the state of the society there. And there is so much to be learned if only we can read the Ajamil Katha. And I had the fortune to read it after joining the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mutt. I read that book from beginning to end. And it's a very small book. And it is just giving the power of Nam Smaran, even if it is by Nama Abhas. It is so exceptionally powerful to wean us away from the material entrapment. And at so many times in our Grantha, even in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna has mentioned that if at the time of death, if you remember me, then you come to my dham. That is how powerful that potency that Bhagavan Swayam has given. So, and there is so much beauty and strength to be had by giving our children the name of these divine personalities. Even though it is Namabhas, even a person who is not educated, he will get the benefit of Namabhas. And person who has got some attraction will always remember the personality on whose honor that name has been given to that relative, that boy or whoever else. It is always a very good benediction we are giving to our children, or to whoever we have an opportunity to influence, to give them, allow their parents to give them name on the divine pastimes of Lord Hari. And it is just a reflection. Hopefully somebody who listens to it may potentially benefit from it.
Very true. If you traditionally look at our Bharatiya or Indian names, traditionally, I'm not talking the modern, the new society or the whatever they call themselves, but if you see traditionally, they were all like that. Like my family's middle name is Ram, as is. So whatever name you put, so like one of my father's younger brothers, his name is Vinay. You say Vinay Ram. One is Govind Ram. My father's Balram. So like that, there is some. I used to think, why is that? But once you get initiated into reality and these things reveal themselves. Like this is why. So even when you're completely engrossed in your family life and worldly affairs, all you're doing is you're chanting the Lord's name one way or another.
Yeah.
One way or another. Huh? So that there was some rhyme and reason to why in Vedic society these names were chosen. So it's not just arbitrary and blind faith. This is something that now I find is maybe I'm seeing it wrong, but it's not that prevalent. Now the new crop has different names, different kinds of names. They're more, I don't know, universally acceptable, or however you want to put it, but they're not like the traditional ones that I was used to. But Ajamil, like we said, this is the name. This is not even the proper name. This is just a semblance, like a twilight of the real thing. It hasn't even, the sun hasn't risen yet. Yet, just before the sun rises, all the mist and the fog gets cleared up. It has been said like that. In Bhagavatam, the last verse kind of is very significant in any like literary or transcendental literature that we take. It'll summarize, or it'll give just as the first verse, the last verse is also, it has its place and its importance. So the last verse of Srimad Bhagavatam very clearly it takes one through that entire process of cleansing the consciousness, and then elevation, and then more and more and more, and then ecstasy, divine ecstasy, and then finally it comes to what is the conclusion? What is the takeaway? What is the call to action? Yeah. Call to action. It says, Nam Sankirtanayasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranama Dukkha Shamanas Tam Namami Harim Param. And then Param Guru Mahārāj comments, he says, after that, Srimad Bhagavatam is silent. Because it's trying to see, it wants to see what you do. It wants to see what you do. This is the expression of Param Guru Mahārāj. Then he's so silent. And then he adds that when Srimad Mahaprabhu read that verse, after that verse, then he took it to the streets. He took Harinam to the streets. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is recorded in the golden volcano of divine love. So, Mahaprabhu himself exemplifying like how to interpret and how to answer that call.
Really, on the similar line, all the names that I know of my uncles, my mama, they are exactly like that. Ram Prasad, Hari Prasad, Ram Narayan. My father's name was Shukdev Prasad. So in his family, everybody was a Prasad, the mercy of the Everybody born was a Prasad.
So that's traditional. That's our culture. Anilji, you were trying to, please go ahead.
So just by the fact that because you have named somebody with that divine name, right, and you are taking that name every day, day in, day out, every time, right? So this is what as a perception, a common perception which I conclude is that there is no set rule for taking an Harinam, right? There is nothing that you will sitting here, do all those things, then only it will be working. And because if that was the case, then maybe this tradition was never there, right? So
exactly,
correct understanding, right? We just take the name, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's compared to like sometimes we are told like fire is fire. Wherever and whenever it will act, whether you you're feeling cold, you're feeling hot, you're feeling something else, fire is fire. So that is Harinam. Abhinnatvan nam namino. There is no difference between the name and the personality named. They're one and the same. Shuddhanam. in its complete potency, there is no difference. And that is the hope that we can somehow come to that stage. But there is so much, like even on the way we are seeing, even twilight is so powerful. The twilight name, Namabhas, is so powerful. Like, he was chanting there was no offense, but he was chanting mistakenly. He's saying the name of his son, and then from that, the remembrance of his of Lord Narayan came, and then that's how the actual Vishnudutas came, and they intervened, the Yamdutas, saying that no, now he is not in your jurisdiction because he has called Narayana without offense, and he will be. That's why we are here. So and they were not aware. The Yamdutas said, well, he is been sinning most of his life, and you're asking us to just let him go? We've never heard of this. And then the Vishnudutas said, well, then you need to go to your master, Yamraj, and ask him. So that's how powerful it is. And Ajamil was witnessing all of this. It was happening because when the Yamdutas came, they actually put a rope around his neck and were beginning to drag him for judgment. Judgment is justice. An eye for an eye. Right? What you put out is what you're going to get back. So that's what most people believe in. In religion, it's like, oh, kar bhala ho bhala, right? Do good, and so good will come to you. But how do you break that cycle? Or is that all in all? How many people get to that position of questioning, is that all in all? You keep doing good without knowing anything further, and then good will keep happening to you. And you keep wandering around in this, the entire universe or multiverse, and there's no end to it. When you come in touch with the plane of mercy. Mercy is above justice, right? Then you come to the plane of mercy. And mercy petition.
Harinam is Sankirtan is a mercy petition, right? Which is the first step.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank goodness that it is a mercy petition. Otherwise, at least I would have no hope. I mean, you guys are so elevated, but I wouldn't have any hope. Yes, Arun Prabhu, please. You're muted. Arun Prabhu, you're muted, please.
So, Prabhuji, this is all beautiful and nice and very, very hopeful, but even if people hear this class for a moment, this mercy that is coming from above is pulling us out from all this account of karma. All this account of karma. It does not matter what my prarabdha was, what my accumulated things are. It does not matter I am born in the family of the dog eater. Nothing matters. Once that mercy comes and we can chant the name, one can only imagine, it's like bhagya khul gaya. मैं अभी आता हूँ.
No problem. Hare Krishna. So we will go on. So the next section reads, to joke and chant. Parihasya is another kind of namabhas. Parihasya means jokingly. Sometimes in sport, we may say, oh, you are chanting the name of Krishna. If one is cutting jokes, ridiculing the Hare Krishna devotees in the street, and says, Hare Krishna, that may be namabhas if it is connected with his previous pious credits. Mukti or liberation may be effected by that kind of chanting, but not the opportunity for divine service. So he's saying that, Param Guru Mahārāj is saying that this section where people can be chanting jokingly, to joke and chant. Arun Prabhu, that's the section, next section that we read. Another kind of namabhas is to joke and chant, parihasya. So even that, like sometimes what happens is persons of some other conception, sometimes they, without any offense, they'll just make a little joke or some fun. And they will, so in the streets, and if you have gone on Nagar Sankirtan or chanted in the streets, sometimes there will be other people, and you can tell by how they're dressed and all that they're of a different persuasion, but they'll somehow join in the Sankirtan because it's lively and it's beautiful and people are smiling. The devotees are always welcoming everyone. And they will join in, but they will just parihasya, out of joking, they will repeat. Like Hari Bol, a couple of times, or chant the name of Krishna, and then like that they will join in. Even that is said to be liberating if it is connected with their previous pious activities. But what Param Guru Mahārāj is saying, that is not enough. Namabhas is not enough for positive engagement, for service. Liberation, yes, possible. So the next is Krishna as code name. Another form of namabhas is stobh. To use the name with some other intention. Sometimes these words, Narayan or Krishna, may be used for some technical meaning or for a code word. Dev-Goswāmī has taken advantage of this in his book of Sanskrit grammar, the Harinamamrita Vyakaran. When one is playing the mridanga drum, using the names Gaura Nitai to represent different drum beats, it may be namabhas. Now we come to indirect chanting. Hela is another kind of namabhas, neglectfully chanting the name. When we are rising from bed in the morning, sometimes we may neglectfully say, Hare Krishna. Right? In this way, we may cast off our indolence. Even there, it may be namabhas. It may liberate us from our present position, but may not give us entrance into Vaikuntha. That is possible only through devotional service. That is possible only through devotional service. One Mohammedan who was being killed by the tusk of a boar shouted, Haram! Haram! Meaning, this is abominable. Haram and halal, those are two opposites. in Arabic. So because he was being killed by a boar, so he's like, haram, like I can't be killed by a boar. Back to Param Guru Maharaj. Meaning this is abominable, but because of his previous sukriti or pious credits, it became namabhas, and he achieved liberation by chanting the name of Lord Ram. You get it, Anilji? Although he was saying haram, but there is that vibration in there. There is ha Ram, calling the name of Lord Ram in there. Namabhas may come and mukti, liberation, may be effected, but we cannot get the opportunity of service there. Only if our mind is surcharged with a serving attitude will it elevate us to the subtle and higher plane. Otherwise not. If the tendencies for renunciation and exploitation are mixed with our chanting, it won't yield the desired result. The chanting must be done with a service attitude. Sevan mukhe hi jivado. What is our aim? We want the service of the Lord. Die to live. We want a life of purity which is full of self-giving. We want a generous life. We want to live the life of those who want not to extract but to give. We want a civilized life in the domain of higher civilization, where everyone is a giving unit, an emanating unit, not an absorbing unit. There everyone is especially God-centered and harmonious. They are all of the nature of divinity, and divinity means dedication towards the center of all harmony, the absolute good. So with that spirit, we are to chant the holy name, and every action should be done with devotion for Krishna. We should try to take the positive line of serving Vishnu and Vaishnava, Krishna and his devotees. And with this sort of attitude, we should chant the holy name of Krishna. Jai Śrīla Param Guru Mahārāj ki jai. That is how the attitude should be. And Srila Rupa Goswami has actually gone to the extent of saying that Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati Kriyatam Yadi Kutopi Labhyate Tatra Lolyam Api Mulyam Ekalam Janma Koti Sukraterana Labhyate. He says, in the language of the people of Kali Yuga that understand, we understand taka, money, give and take, okay, you do this, I'll do this. He says, if Krishna Bhakti, if you find a merchant selling it, buy it for any price. Any price he's asking for so much. Just pay it and buy it. It is so valuable. But he says that the only value, if you really evaluate, is lolyam. There is no monetary value that you can attach, like, okay, this merchant is asking $1 trillion. So I'll first try and collect $1 trillion. It's not like that. He says, Tatra lolyam api mulyam ekalam. Mulya, the price you will find, is only one, which is lolyam. Lolyam, if you really see it's actually greed. One has to be like greedy for service. Tatra lolyam api mulyam ekalam. And he says, if the brahmanas and if the elevated persons think that we will collect sukriti over millions of lives, or koti, janma koti sukrater, na labhyate. He says, you may go for, hundreds and thousands of millions of lifetimes trying to collect sukriti, it will never be enough. That is Krishna Bhakti, that is service. Rasabhavitamati. That is how durlabh it is. Yet, for someone who is greedy or who can be greedy, it is very easily available. So when we say Mahaprabhu's, we say that chinta, something which is very near and also at the same time very far. Simultaneous oneness and difference we will find in all different aspects. His approach we will find in the actual engaging in devotional service, same thing. It can be extremely easy, it can be extremely difficult at the same time. So that simultaneous oneness and difference we will find in all aspects. If we look closely, discerningly, we will find that. So if we had some good discussion, but we can do service of the holy name. Maybe we can begin and then we can carry on if you guys permit. Okay. So this is service of the holy name. Student, I have one question about chanting the Hare Krishna mantra on beads, japamala. My spiritual master has given me many preaching duties. So sometimes when I am trying to concentrate on my japamala, instead of hearing the holy name, I think of all these different duties I have to do. Śrīla Śrīdhar Mahārāj. Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur emphasized that Kirtan means not only loudly singing the holy name, but preaching. Dev-Goswāmī has given a definition of Sankirtan. Bahubhir militvayat Kirtanam tadeva Sankirtanam. When many people come together and glorify the Supreme Lord Krishna, it is known as Sankirtan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and introduced Sankirtan. In this age of Kali, if the holy name is chanted congregationally, the combined efforts will be fruitful. Sangha Shakti Kalau Yuge. There is the difference between the preaching mission of Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and the so-called bhajan of Sahajiyas or imitationists. Once one of our god brothers was the subject of our Guru Mahārāj's stern remark. He was a man of good character, but his tendency was generally towards Nam Bhajan. He did not like to do any other service. but was only inclined to chant the name of Krishna on his beads. I was in charge of the Delhi temple at that time and was intimate with him. So I wrote to Prabhupada, if you permit, I would like to engage my god brother in some preaching work here in the Delhi temple. The letter that Prabhupada wrote is still here. He wrote me in his letter, if you can bring him there and make him help you in the work of preaching, then you will be doing the service of a real friend to him. I don't recognize that sitting in the jungle of Balihati, only chanting, counting beads, is Krishnanushilanam, the proper cultivation of Krishna consciousness. That was Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writing back to Param Guru Mahārāj, Srila Śrīdhar Mahārāj. So, if it's okay with you, I'd like to pause here till next time.
Prabhuji, may I just
Please.
recall that our Guru Mahārāj has indicated to us, by preaching is also by giving association. So one should not be afraid or hesitant about it. Just, be a practicing Vaishnava and meet other people. Chant the name of Hari, and that itself is preaching.
Absolutely. Jive doya namaruchi Vaishnav seva. That's how Sankirtan goes. Unless we all gather together, and nothing can stop it. You see, nothing can stop devotees from coming together and chanting the holy names of the Lord. All circumstances you will see. If you want, you will be able to do it. It's just a question of want. Lolyam. When that want becomes lolyam, then everything is possible. So let's get greedy now. Let's see. Nanda Kishore Prabhu. Huh?
It is something which is good to have, right? To be greedy about Sankirtan.
That is the beauty of Krishna consciousness, or Anilji. In this conception, you will see no one denies, okay, well, you can't have senses. We have our senses. So in other conceptions or in other things, you're supposed to suppress your sensual experience, and just it's called the Indriya Daman. That is not recommended in Krishna consciousness. Rather, we let the Indriyas function fully in engagement with service. Tongue is the most voracious. It's the most voracious. So we try and engage the tongue in chanting the names of the Lord, in tasting prasadam, and in such ways, when it finally finds that higher taste, then we can rein in. It will naturally go and tend to service rather than any other engagement. It will prefer. Yes, Anil.
Just one line in the same context, right? So it reminds me of one person from our place, right? He was always, will say something if he sees something is happening or for Krishna or something, right? So he will always say in a joke, why you are worshipping, this person was butter thief, right? Always butter thief, makan chor, makan chor. Even that is, I think,
Yes,
kind of Harinama Das, right?
yes. That way is you're remembering. In any way that you can remember, but in a positive way.
Right.
Anukulyen. It should be anukul, the remembrance. Because demons also, when they're afraid of Krishna, they always remember him. But that is not the way. we don't want that kind of remembrance. Right? They also remember, but we want anukul. What is favorable for his service? So let me call upon the illustrious Kirtan team, Nanda Kishore Prabhu and Lavanya Sundari, to kindly appear. Because they're with Anika. Oh, they're there. Oh, wow. Okay, they're here. You're muted. All right.
You're muted.
You're good. Again.
We're in an undisclosed location.
Okay. Can you? You're muted again.
Yeah, no, I don't think it'll fit in there. No, it's okay. It's already on his side.
Can you guys are not like totally visible? Can you come a little can you get a little closer to
Can
each
you
other?
put up? I think you need to put it up. Oh, okay. I have an idea. Yes.
Oh wow, this is good.
Oh. No, can you do it that way a little? Okay, let me get from here. Come here. Yeah. Okay, good. Oh no, it's falling, man.
Okay, just whenever
One
you're
second.
ready, you please.
Okay. Sorry, we're having some. Okay, ready? Okay. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu
Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Śrīla Bhakta Vrinda.
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Śrīla Bhakta Vrinda.
Hari Haraya Namah Krishnaya Davaya Namaha.
Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan.
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan.
Giridhari Gopinatha Madana Mohan.
Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan.
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra.
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra.
Gadadhara Shivasadi Gauravata Vrinda.
Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath.
Jaya Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath.
Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath.
Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath.
Ek Chai Gosai Gori Sarana Bandhan.
Chai Gosai Gori Charanam Vandana.
Jaha hoite vignana Javishta Puran.
Jaha hoite vignana Javishta Puran.
Echai Gosai Jar Gure Taradas.
Echai Gosai Jar Muni Taradas.
Sabara Padarenu Mora Panchagas.
Sabara Padarenu Mora Panchagas.
Tandera Charana Sevi Vasta Sanebas.
Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanebas.
Janame Mora Abhilash.
Janame Mora Abhilash.
Ichai Gosai Jabe Raja Koilabas.
Echai Gosai Jabe Raja Koilabas.
Śrīla Krishna Nitya Leela Korela Prakash.
Śrīla Krishna Nitya Leela Korela Prakash.
Anande Bolo Hare Bhaja Vrindavan.
Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan.
Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koreyat.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koreyat.
Hari Nam Sankirtana Kore Narotamadas.
Hari Nam Sankirtana Kore Narotamadas.
Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev.
Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar.
Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga.
Okay, Anika ji, please take it away.
Jaya Saprika Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandhavar Govinda Sundar Giridhari Gopilaju Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnupad Mangsha Parachakaravari Asat Shri Srimad Bhakti Sundar Dev-Goswāmī Mahārāj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnupad Mangsha Parachakaravari प्रिय अस्त सत श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति रसक देव गोसाई महाराज की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद मंक्षा परवर्षकरा प्रिय अस्त सत श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद श्री गोपेश्वर दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति मुदा ठाकुर की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपानुग गुरुवर्ग की जय। नमस्कार श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री बलदेव विद्याभूषण की जय। श्री विश्वनाथ सरस्वती प्रभु की जय। श्री नरोत्तम श्याम मंदिर श्री वैष्णव प्रभु की जय। श्री रविंद्रनाथ दास ठाकुर की जय। श्री कृष्णदास कविराज की जय। प्रसाद श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय। प्रसाद श्री महाप्रभु की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। श्री लक्ष्मी वरदेव की जय। भक्ति विघ्न विनाशाय श्री नरसिंह देव की जय। भक्त प्रभुपाद महाराज की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। गंगा जमुना जी की जय। ग्रंथ राजा श्री भक्तितम चैतन्य शर्मात्रा की जय। विश्व वैष्णव राजा सभा की जय। अक्रात मात श्री चैतन्य मात की जय। तदियसक मात की जय। श्री चैतन्य सरस्वती मात की जय। विश्व पवित्र तदियसक मात की जय। श्री दमायापुर की जय। श्री नवद्वीप की जय। वृंदावन पुरुषोत्तम धाम की जय। बलदेव सुभद्रा जमुना जी की जय। श्री गोविंद कुंड की जय। समवेत वैष्णव मंडल की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। नित्य गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि
हरी हरी बोल। जय श्री अनिका जी, Bikram ji, Preeti ji and family ki jai. The elite Kirtan team, Nanda Kishore Prabhu and Lavanya Sundari ki jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardhan Mahārāj ki jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Mahārāj ki jai. जय श्री चैतन्य सारस्वत मठ आचार्य वृंद की जय। श्री चैतन्य सारस्वत मठ सन्यासी वृंद की जय। जय श्रीपाद गोविंद प्रभु की जय। श्रीपाद बलराम प्रभु की जय। गौरव प्रभु की जय। और elite, not elite, our divine panelist Sripad Arun Krishna Prabhu ki jai. Anil ji ki jai. Sangeeta ji ki jai. Nandrani ji ki jai. All the assembled devotees ki jai. Nittai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Sripad Jairam Prabhu ki jai. Bhakti ki jai. Dandavad.
Dandavad.